Hello, hello, and we are live. Thank you everyone for being here right now. I'm so honored that I get to do this show with everybody. I'm already seeing some people in the comments, so hello. Some people I recognize and some new people here. So thank you so much for joining. I am not gonna lie. This is gonna be the first time that I am actually doing a show with like no active questions being asked, and so bear with me because I got a lot of things going on in the background, and I'm gonna try to like adhere to the comments, and I'm gonna make sure I get all the first order of business out of the way. So before, with any further ado, I do want to just say that, if you haven't already, please subscribe or, share or like our Rumble page at Beyond Mystic. I know that there are so many nourishing shows and so many beautiful souls that are coming on here to share their medicine with everybody. So you don't want to miss that. So yeah, like, share, subscribe away. And and basically, of course, those who know, I am so honored to be now part of this Beyond Mystic family, and the fact that I have been given the opportunity to use my voice on this platform. And those of you who have already booked sessions with me, thank you so much. They have been really powerful for me, and I'm just really honored and my goodness, humbled by a lot of your shares and your feedback. So those of you who haven't booked with me, you still have a chance here on this platform. I have brought it down to 60-minute sessions, and we're making it a little bit more accessible for the high demand of people. So yeah, thank you so much again. Before I go into the unravel, I definitely want to speak some intention and what really brought me to wanting to create a show on the sacred mysteries. Okay, so we'll get into what that is and what is sacred and what are the mysteries, but I really want to get into the intention, and I feel that this is going to be a space where, thank you, this is going to be a space where I get to really give, and where I hope and would really encourage you to just receive the transmissions. And I call them transmissions because there is a lot of prep work for me that kind of goes into coming on here and speaking my truth or speaking elements of my wisdom. And that preparation is really, first and foremost, a deeper check-in with what wants to come through, what wants to be spoken through me, and how that is then relevant to what we are seeing now at present in the collective and in our lives. So really my intention here is for you to receive whatever it is that resonates and lands in your being. Ready to receive. Amazing. Thank you, Jenny Alicia. Okay. So I guess I'll move on from the receiving, but that is my intention for the show. I've had some questions, actually a lot of questions, about what is this temple of the blue fire and temple of the blue flame. And so I'm going to start today's transmission with a little bit of understanding of what the blue flame and the sapphire flame actually is, what the blue ray is, and then we'll weave that into why I've decided to sort of create this temple for it, which is a space or a platform for it, and how I then embody that and how that translates into many of the mysteries and like essentially what my experience of the mysteries are. And I will only speak to my experience of what the mysteries are because the mysteries are very unique to each individual that experiences aspects and dimensions of them. So yes, I can speak to teachings of things that I have learned outside myself, but the greatest mystery are the teachings and the wisdom that we gain as we move through them from experience, and how that translates uniquely through us. So let's start with the blue flame and the blue fire. You know, you may hear me speak quite a bit and use the word God. And I've had a ton of healing to do in terms of, the conditioning and programs of religion, and the use of the word God, and the use of the word Christ and Christ consciousness, and all of these things. And through my unravel and through my healing journey, there are many things that have become very clear to me. And so this is the way I will express, God, in terms of, instead of saying like universe or creator. And I mean, for you, it can be whatever it needs to be, and that's okay. For me, you'll hear me say God. Okay. So the blue flame and the blue ray, what I have learned through my experience is that, at a time where God or creator decided to create the universe, and the way it came down to me was watching this, like almost this creation through Genesis. Like, we talk about Genesis, and you've heard this outplay in the Bible in many different ways. But let's use these words without any other like religious connotations to it. Just be open to just the word, right? Because the word does hold a vibration and a power to it beyond the programs and the conditioning. There are different etymologies to all of this. So if we take the moment where, creation happens and this Genesis happens, and, God decides through its infinite intelligence that it wants to come to know itself through its creations, right? These first three rays that were given rays to the universe, three frequencies, were the red ray, the blue ray, and the gold ray. And these frequencies held a desire. The desire of the blue ray and the desire of God or creator in creating this blue ray, right, was the desire of truth and the desire of purification, illumination. And what I have come to really understand and learn is all the many multi-dimensional ways that this blue ray becomes embodied or materialized. And so when we talk about the sapphire, like on Earth, we have a stone that holds, yes, I love blue too, no wonder. Yeah, that holds the sapphire, that holds the consciousness of this blue ray, right, through color. And we know that on the spectrum of light, right, there's a spectrum of color. Color also speaks to forms of language, and forms of language speak to harmonics, and harmonics are truly sacred geometry. It's patterns. It's actually like a polymath. It's a mathematics. So the sapphire flame for me, and my understanding of how I've come into this sort of, I want to say, embodiment of the sapphire flame, or like I'm an incarnation of the sapphire flame, began a long time ago with, my whole life I've loved blue, and there was a pattern there and synchronicities there and so many stories I can speak to there. And really, when it became pretty obvious, especially when I first began my awakening journey, that I was an indigo, that my soul had this signature of the indigo, right? Indigo is a facet of blue, and what that really meant. And from that, moving forward, many other synchronicities happened. And through my priestess path, understanding what the blue rose was and the lineage of the blue rose, it just became very, very clear that I was this embodiment of sapphire flame, and that my truest desire and my truest service was to truth. right? And that is the main desire of the blue is truth, purification. And it's like a consistent purification of, oh, sorry, did I cut out there? I'm sorry, I'm just seeing some of the comments. I'm not sure if I cut out, but I'll try to, I'm hoping my internet is working well. I live in Costa Rica, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me because we've got all kinds of like interesting things happening here with the internet in Costa Rica. So yeah, so back to the blue, basically, you know, truth is infinite and there's an unraveling to truth. And this is where we get into, you know, the mystery, the great mystery and the sacred mysteries. And so my sort of, how would you say, I don't want to use the word like specialization, but like sort of my focus and where I funnel in my service work is the, you know, collaboration with the blue ray, the collaboration with the sapphire flame, and how that expresses through me in order to consistently expand our awareness and consciousness of truth, right? And that looks like a lot of different things in many different ways. And so why the temple? And essentially the sapphire flame or the blue flame, temple of the blue fire, is temple of truth, right? And just in the temple aspect and the consciousness of temple, and I want to put this teaching out here, a teaching that I really experienced, which is why it was so important for me to create this temple despite not wanting to create a temple, because everybody has a temple. It's just like, nah, I didn't want to do another temple. But what God really showed me, what, you know, Creator really showed me was, you know, we have this initiating force that is God, who initiates creation. And in that creation of the universe, it's like the universe is one massive temple. One massive temple, an infinite temple. And when we look at this infinite temple at a like from a macro perspective, you'll hear me talk a lot about macro and micro, but from a macro perspective, the universe as a temple, right? And then how many ways God creates through its creations other temples, right? So we can say our body is a temple. We can say the earth, the planet, is a temple. And even within the earth, humans have created temples. Humans have created temples you can see in the physical, and the earth also holds veiled temples, sacred sites beyond the veil, which is another big aspect of the mysteries. So if we look at it from this perspective and we understand that, you know, this temple that I speak to, this temple that I curate, this temple that I steward is a temple of truth. And through that truth and the discovery of truth rests the mystery, the great mystery, right? And that is sacred. It is sacred because we want to safeguard the sanctity and the purity and the, you know, importance and the vitality of these teachings and these mysteries, and utilize them in collaboration with our, you know, most organic self. Like, we want to utilize them in collaboration with the planet. We are here to be on this planet as Gaians in our earth walk. And so how we then learn how to steward what is sacred, you know, we learn how to steward that through nature and our collaboration and our connection through nature, right? And safeguarding that. Because if we don't safeguard it and we consistently extract from it, as we can see what is happening on a collective level, then it you know, it is no more, right? And even in that aspect, from a grander esoteric teaching, you know, the teaching of the extraction is also sacred, right? Because we are all of it. We are all of it. So getting back to, you know, when people are like, so what is the mystery? And my biggest answer is like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody really knows. And we are evolving with the mysteries. We are evolving. there are mystics throughout time and history who have devoted their life to this evolution of understanding truth, right? And essentially we can say truth is God. Truth is creation. Truth is universe. And so as we move through various rituals, ceremonies, teachings, experiences that connect us deeper to the mystical aspects, right? We then come to learn more about ourself, right? More about our divinity. And it's in that learning through our, like, of our own divine self that we then understand how God is expressing through us, and we come closer to the mystery. So, yeah, the mystery is not made to, fully discover. It's infinite. It is infinite, right? And my biggest experience is that, like I just said, it's sort of like to get to know the aspects of myself through the felt experience helps me then understand the greater mysteries. Okay. And I'll get into like all of that piece a little later as well. So I do want to share a little bit about my personal experience of how I actually, became devoted to this, and my very, first mystical experience, if you will, that really shifted a lot of things for me. And I'm do a tiny little storytelling, and those who do a lot of work with me and mentorship and stuff, like I love some wisdom stories. So a little bit of a storyteller sometimes, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go back many years where I had my very, very first breathwork session. It was a transcendental breathwork, and this was before I had ever connected to any other modalities that had brought me into other forms of, like, mystical experiences. And so this breathwork that I did, which was very interesting, I'm going to preface this with, I have always been deeply, deeply connected to wolves. And as many people in the spiritual community know, that, wolves are a power animal, right? This is a beautiful spirit guide. And since the time I was very little, I resonated deeply with wolves. I used to, I don't know if I mentioned this maybe in another show, I'm not sure, but when I was actually an active duty police officer, I can remember a time where I was literally still in uniform and I was driving home from my shift. It was a late night shift. I was like really early in the morning, 3 a.m. I was exhausted. It was like the end of my 4-day stretch. And I'm driving in my cop car, on my way back, pitch black in the middle of nowhere, country land, Canada. And I look over to my right, and in the passenger seat, like clear as day, the way you guys are seeing me now, I saw a wolf. And I thought I was batshit crazy. Like literally thought I was batshit crazy. It's like, there's no way that, like, I was like, I'm too tired. I'm definitely on my last night shift. I'm exhausted. Anyway, so I'm just reiterating that the wolf was very, very present for me, like in so many different ways. And so moving back to this breath work that I had done, I'm in this beautiful space. I'm feeling safe. I have a beautiful blindfold on. The drum is going, the music's going. I'm doing my breath work. And all of a sudden, and this was before I knew anything about anything, cosmic and spiritual and mystical. And I have this entire vision. Like literally, I see a blue wolf, like running through the cosmos, literally running, like through the cosmos, through space, running away from this planet that was blue. There's just this blue planet. Now, whether that was like the star Sirius or whatever that was, it was blue. And the wolf is running, and the wolf is crying. And I can hear this wolf literally, and I get like really emotional with this, but it's like, I don't know what I'm running to, but I'm running away from home and I have to go. I'm running to this mission. And I kept like, this wolf kept looking back to this like blue planet. And I kept hearing, we can't tell you who we are, because if we do, you're going to want to come back home. This is your mission. So I took that and I was like, okay, round 2 of feeling batshit crazy. But I know I'm not. There was a deeper knowing in there. And during the integration aspect of my my breathwork session afterwards, when I was actually doing the integration portion with the facilitator, who was just this beautiful, beautiful shamanic practitioner, she sat with me and, and I wasn't verbalizing very much in my breath work. Thank you so much. So powerful. Thank you. I'm glad this is resonating. She says to me, she says, I got downloads for you. And I said, okay, what were those downloads? And she says, well, do you know anything about Arcturian? Like, do you know anything about the star Sirius? Do you anything like all of this blue, like, Arcturian? And I was like, what are you talking about? Right. So for me, this was sort of a very like a pivotal point in my healing, where it was like, I had a mystical experience, an embodied mystical experience, right? That I literally felt at the core of my being, that I could not intellectualize, right? It was an ineffable experience that I could not particularly articulate properly at that time. And it was like, oh, okay, so this is true. This is true. Because that was truth. That was my truth. That was my truth. So that story is just to demonstrate, and I'm sure many of you have these stories, right, of these mystical experiences. But that was really, truly, this is just to demonstrate how the mystery must be experienced. Okay? The mystery must be experienced. This is why we held throughout ancient times mystery schools, okay, in various temples. And I also just want to say as a side note that even though there's this longing as we awaken and as we move on our spiritual journey, and we connect to different parts of consciousness that bring us back to particular past lives and all of these things, right? There is a longing to go back, right? There's a longing to reclaim, which is vital, yes, but there's a longing to be that again. And I have compassion for that. And I was there and I understand that. But I always like to also say that it's the culmination of all the things you were, including all the things you were in this life, that bring you to the present now. That is the most powerful place and aspect of self that you can be. And so this longing to go back to the temple and reclaim, and, yes, it was a vital part of the healing process. But the evolution is also the mystery, because the mysteries evolve. And so the question then remains, and the practice then remains, is like, how do we bring the mysteries back now so that it resonates and it supports what is happening as a collective now, right? So it's one thing to say, I want to be a temple priestess the way, great. That is an aspect, right? How do we bring that into now? How do we pioneer this evolution? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take a sip of water. How's that feeling? I'm looking at the comments right now. So yes, I resonate with this so much. Thank you so much. This is deep. Thank you. Thank you. I try to go deep. Yeah, thank you. The inner temple. Yes, you're right. Bring back the mysteries. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm here to do. Okay, so evolution. Okay. Because the mysteries are steeped in evolution, we also have to understand that they are obviously consistently changing. Okay. And they consistently change as humanity changes. Okay. And here's the thing, if we're not willing to evolve, right, we're not willing to change, we stay stagnant. And where we stay stagnant, we are by choice choosing separation. So let that sit with you for a moment. Where we remain stagnant, by choice, we are choosing separation. And the whole desire of the blue, right? The desire that God spoke into this blue ray, this blue frequency that was given to the universe, embodied by humanity, embodied by Gaia through stone, through gem, right? Is that truth is always evolving. And so if we stay stagnant, truth is love, God is love. We stay stagnant, stuck in fear, stuck in separation. So when people ask me sort of, like, what's your purpose? And like, what are you here to serve? And it's like, well, I'm only here to serve one thing that is consistently evolving in me, and sometimes at an excruciating pace, and that is truth. And then sometimes I'm saying, like, I'm here to steward stardust, So let's steward stardust, because we are stardust, right? The sacred. And I want everybody here to know that we are all carriers of the mysteries. We are all carriers of it. It is those that choose to devote themselves to understanding where the mysteries reside within them. And I can give you guys some examples, but we're all carriers of the mysteries in a specific way. And the ancients knew this, right? Because the ancients were also extremely connected to nature. And by being connected to nature, they were connected to the cycles of the earth, the cycles of the planets, the cycles of their human body. And when we are more connected to those primal aspects, right? What ends up happening is that we understand rites of passage. We understand that as we move and transform through the seasons, which the seasons of the planet and of our environments also correlate to our own inner seasons. And when we are willing to move through those death and rebirth portals, for women on a monthly basis with our bleed, right? We go through these like rites of passage. And this is where the mystery schools really taught in different ways. Like, what are these rituals? What are these ceremonies? What are these rites of passage? What does it mean to be in connection and collaboration with Gaia, your Gaian? I could have spent my entire earth walk trying to figure out, like, what part of me is Arcturian? What does that mean? Who are they? I want to connect to them. Come, but I'm here to be Gaian, right? This is what I chose. I'm here to walk here. And an aspect of that Arcturian lineage is a teacher. I hold it in my genetic so that I can express it through this body, right? So we are all carriers of the mysteries. And one of the most beautiful things that the mystery schools were teaching were how to collaborate again with the earth. And this is, before like templates turned, and, we want to talk about ancient Egypt and like where high alchemy then turned into kind of dark magic and all of these things. But true high alchemy, high magic was a deep devotion to utilizing the elements, right? And the earth and the plants and the minerals, and utilizing those in connection with their consciousness, right? As a beautiful teacher and a source of how to transform and how to heal. And of course, there's many domains, I should say, and many aspects and streams of kind of like, again, I'll use the word like specializations, if you will, like in the temples, right? So like when we say that, you know, somebody's a high priestess or a priestess, like there's not one way to priestess. There's not one way to priestess. And the way that we priestess and the way that we shaman, right, or the way that we are shamanic, must come through our direct experience with rites of passage and initiations in collaboration with the earth, that then expresses in its unique way through us, right? And so if we say that God is nature, right? So nature is then expressing through us, God is expressing through us, and it's to be this clear vessel, as clear as we can be, right? As emptied out of density. And I say density in form of like integrating our shadows, integrating our wounding, loving all the aspects of self, loving our mind, loving our ego, right? All of these things. It's the integration of all of that that allows our light body to expand and shine, right? I'm gonna take a break. I'm seeing all these comments like popping up here, guys. Wow, thank you. What is this? Each one of our paths is unique and exciting. Absolutely. We are all so uniquely designed. We are all so uniquely designed. Yeah. So part of the mystery is how they think. Oh. Oh no. Sorry guys, I'm cutting out there. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me. Maybe somebody just drop in the chat and see if like you're able to hear me, because I see that it sometimes cuts me out. But yeah. Give me a second here. Okay, no, we're good. It looks like we're good. I'm back. All right. I hope I didn't get cut off too much there. Okay. So part of the mystery is how we make things conscious, right? How do we bring the subconscious, the underworld up, right? And up and out. And it's not by constantly staying up here. It's actually about a descent, right? It's a real descent. And the original descent into the body being sort of what we would call the original shadow, right? If spirit is here and our source is here, our soul is here to experience this vessel. It's here to experience the physical realm. It's here to experience emotion, like what it is to feel touch, right? And so, you know, conditioning programs, systems have disconnected us from that truest embodiment, which then the body literally becomes the ultimate shadow because it holds on to so much guilt and shame, right? So that's the reclamation process of it. Yeah, I think, and don't worry, I'm going to actually leave probably we're getting close. Wow. That's already 37 minutes. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go for another, like maybe 5 minutes, and then I'll actually open it up for Q&A because I'd love to answer some questions. So I know that a lot of people have questions, so I'm happy to answer a couple that I can get through in the last like 15, 20 minutes. So we talked a little bit about the mystery, and there's a beautiful quote that I want to say, and it really resonated with me. But basically, it was said that God rests in the marrow of the mystery. God rests in the marrow of the mystery. Okay. So this is why I say that, you know, the more we get to know ourselves through the mystical experience, the more we get to know the aspects of the mystery. And the more that we get to know the aspects of the mystery, we get to know God. We get to know creation. We get to know that one thing that, you know, manifests itself in infinite ways. So how do we then, you know, I want to go back a little bit to the mystery schools here. And there's so much shrouding and mysteries on the mystery schools, right? Like, what were they? Like, why do, you know, why is it coming back? Why is it so relevant now? And first and foremost, I don't like to use the word pure so much, but I guess the mystery schools that held like the deepest integrity, okay, had to be safeguarded. They had to be safeguarded. Why? Because what was transpiring in the temples held a lot of power, right? It wasn't power outside the self. It was learning how to cultivate the divinity and power within. And there were very sacred teachings in that oftentimes were not meant for everybody. Not everybody's soul comes here and is able to hold the totality of a lot of these deeper teachings. They're just not there yet. They haven't grown to that aspect or expanded to that aspect yet. And it's not just the soul, it's the aspect of the mind and the human and the ego. And there's a lot of people throughout time and history who have wanted to extract, rob, extort those teachings for the purpose of their own abundance and their own power over, right? And this is often what we see now in the world, that, like, you know, when we talk about the spiritual war that we're in right now, this is huge, right? And this is a lot of those sort of darker magic practices stem from distorting actual high alchemy, right? We're distorting it now, right? We're extorting it now. So people have had to really, really safeguard these teachings. Like, and when I talk about the safeguarding of it, like I can't speak to the safeguarding of it without talking about like the true warriors, which I'll probably do a whole other show on, like warrior consciousness and the heart-led, you know, warrior and all this. But I do want to say, and I did pop a little quote in here that I thought was really beautiful on the warrior that I will expand on in later shows for sure. But in order to safeguard what is sacred, what is truly sacred, what truly brings us back into connection and collaboration with our divinity, right? With our sovereignty, right? In order to safeguard that, you had to be a really heart-led warrior as well. And I'm going to give you guys a quote, and it's from one of my elders, okay? One of my priestess elders, Holly Rafaela, love her to death. And through her lineage and passing this on to me, this quote was from grandfather stalking wolf, right? And it's from the Lipan Apache lineage that she carries, which is just beautiful. And the quote is, "The true warrior is always the last one to pick up the lance, but the first to lay her life down for love. And if love is truth and truth is God, lay her life down for truth and lay her life down for God." So I just wanted to pop that seed in here because that was really, I just wanted to really speak about that. But yeah, why we had to safeguard them, I think I gave you guys that a little bit of pieces of that. But why it's actually really relevant today is because here's the thing. We have been in an age of dogma. We have been in an age of consistent intellectualization, consistent indoctrination. And we are healing from the shadows of that. All the shadows of that is coming up now, right? Because we're starting to rediscover the truth. We're starting to rediscover our connections, right? We're starting to actually rediscover God from a non-religious form, right? And at this time, this is why you're seeing the rise of all these mystery schools, is because it's the experiential based learning that gives way to understanding that truth. We can't intellectualize it. It must be felt in the body as gnosis. So just going to leave you with that piece here as to why there's this reemergence of it, right? There's a reemergence of coming to know thyself through the mystery. And there's many different mystery schools. Like there's mystery schools on mystery schools. There's many different ones. And you just have to go with, you know, what calls you, what's calling you, right? What are you being guided to? And then sometimes that might be, you know, a short time until you expand into something else and evolve out of it. And then it's something else. You know, when I say that the mystery schools help us to really discover who we are beyond fear. Who are we beyond fear, right? Beyond the systems, right? The control and the systemic. And it's the systemic that keeps us in fear, right? So to discover who we are beyond that fear, to go beyond the consciousness of fear, because the consciousness of fear immediately has us questioning the mystery. Immediately has us questioning the mystery because we've been so removed from it. And the fear of the fear consciousness is always trying to interrupt our true identity. So I just want to put that out there. And when it interrupts our true identity, it diminishes our light. So pretty much as you come to know yourself, you come to know the mystery, you come to know God, you come into your light, right? You come to embody your stardust. All right. So I think I'm going to leave it with that right now. I know we've got about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to go through some questions here, and I may not be able to get through all of them. Oh, here's a question. Okay. Thank you. Sylvia, do you think there's an emergence because the veil is thinning or just divine timing? I honestly, thank you for asking that. I think it's both. I really feel in my experience, it's both. The energetic of moving into the Aquarian age, right? There's an energetic that plays out there. There's been an unraveling of a dismantling of shadow, an integration of shadow, a healing on individual and collective levels. And of course, when you're doing that, you're going to see the shadow way, way more, right? So many things are happening. And I think the more we get integrated, the more we become sensitive. Our sensory experience allows us to then see beyond the veil. I hope that that was supportive. I hope that's helpful. I'll grab another question. How do we find this mystery school? Yes, well, there are many, and we do have to be sometimes weary. Like, you know, we don't, many people are doing this work in many different ways now. And there are people, unfortunately, that are not devoted to their own integration of shadow. And I know many of you have heard me talk about this like many different ways, so I don't want to like spend too much time on that right now, but really sit with what your heart is desiring to expand into, where you desire support. There are many mystery schools, like you can start Googling some and things. I mean, I know that like I hold a priestess mystery school for the lineage of the Blue Rose. This is completely different. This is a Blue Rose lineage. You can find out more about it on my website. There are many rose line lineages for the priestess path and the Venus path. For men, there are high priests out there devoted to the mysteries that are also teaching these schools. But yeah, I would just say like Google some, you know, really feel into it. You want to make sure that you are essentially coming into what is going to be part of a council and not a facilitator that's a power over or like some form of hierarchy in there, because then that's not good. Okay, like we're here to counsel and evolve together. So I'm not sure if that was helpful. I'll grab another one. Sylvia, how does one prepare to oh wait, is the dark night of the soul part of our rite of passage? 100%. Yes. And I also want to say that the dark night of the soul, also known as potential depression, from a shamanic perspective, is an emptying out. It's an emptying out. We're emptying ourselves out. And it's not comfortable. Okay? But we're emptying ourselves out to make room for something new. And part of the mystery is to begin to get comfortable with the unknown. When we are in physical discomfort, our mind wants to kick us out, like reach for the first thing that brings us comfort. It's to deepen in trust that your body holds the intelligence. Your body has this intelligence that is so much more evolved than the mind, right? And so it's an emptying out. I hope that was okay, Charmine. Thank you for asking. Question: when life is so busy with grandkids, household, etc., and time is limited, any first tips to calling on guides? Love this, Sylvia. Thank you. No, thank you for asking. Oh my goodness. I want to say that the spoken word is powerful. The spoken word is an aspect of the blue ray and the blue frequency, right? That we hold right here, throat, blue, right? Okay. We hold through expression. So the word is powerful. So when we are among our grandkids and like the to-dos and life is busy, there is nothing wrong with a pause and calling out, calling in, invoking. Another part of this that I want everybody to get real clear on is that deities, Isis, Sekhmet, whatever deities that you're working with, angels, all the things, okay? They are all expressions and faces of one thing. Okay? Remember that. They are all faces and expressions of one thing. When we're working with goddess deities, these are expressions of goddess consciousness. You're right. And when we're working, so anyway, I just wanted to say that so we can call upon our counsel, our spirit counsel at any time, right? And it's a matter of feeling the sensations in our body to understand truth. So a lot of us might get goosebumps, you know, when we're like talking about something that we feel that is so true and like your body gets the goosies. That's truth. For me, it is anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, it is. So that's how we come to understand truth is in the body. So you can call upon them anytime. And, you know, do them with your grandkids. Do a little circle with the grandkids. Sit down with them. Teach them how to call in counsel, how to call in the elements. The elements are listening to the spoken word. I hope that was helpful. Oh, that's a big question. What books do I recommend? There are many. There are many. It really depends on what your, you know, I can tell you what books I'm reading right now. I think that might be helpful. I read a lot of different books. I actually, that's a lie. I listen to a lot of books. I read some of them, but right now I geek out on the Knights Templar, guys. I'm not going to lie. So I'm actually reading the Templar Revelations right now. I am reading, yeah, it really all depends on what your interests are. If you are feeling like you're an indigo soul, an indigo spirit, a beautiful book that set me on my indigo path was The Indigo Adult. That was a beautiful book. Let me see here. I have a ton of trauma healing books. I mean, Gabor Mate is a beautiful, like, he's got beautiful books on trauma healing. Anam Cara is a beautiful one. The Mists of Avalon, for those of you who are really interested in the Avalonian mysteries, which is another part of my lineage. My goodness, I have many. I have many. I hope that was okay. Okay, let me see what time. We got 5 more minutes, and I'll take another couple of questions, and then, yeah. Can a shamanic initiation happen and not include a dismemberment experience? Wow, that's really powerful. So, yes. Many of the traditional shamanic initiations and rites of passage are actually to integrate us and create a coming back to wholeness, what I say, a remembering, right? Like putting back the dismembered parts. Again, lots of distortion in what we're seeing play out in the shamanic realms and things like that. And it's not to be afraid of it. It's not to be afraid of it. It's simply to be aware, right? And the best thing I can say about this is, I can say that I'm a priestess and a shaman, which essentially is an identity. It's an identity, okay? And I can also say that, I'm gonna do this thing for you, and I'm gonna do this extraction, and I'm gonna do this past life regression. And at the end of the day, if I'm telling you all the things I'm seeing and like, you have to understand that that is a part of my truth and my perspective. And it doesn't mean that it's the whole truth. You have truth. You have resonance. You have sovereignty. Okay, so you really need to learn discernment, which is essentially an embodied experience. I have been to some practitioners that have tried to tell me all of these things, and I have sat with the deepest parts of my truth in my body, and it just, at a visceral level, did not feel true, right? And so then I had to sit with, well, what is true, right? So I hope that was helpful. Okay. To me, if you haven't connected to your higher self, then how do you know when you are in relationship to call in Sekhmet, for example? So the best way I can explain this is, and I'm actually going to, for me, again, we are all coded differently. Okay, we are all coded differently. My code, when I am working with an energetic of fire, which is Sekhmet, and she's like a solar source, I know what that feels like in my body. I know what the frequency of her feels like in my body. So it's actually not coming from my higher self. It's coming from a calibrated place in my body through my nervous system, right? So I'm not sure if that's helpful, but you can connect with your higher self and you can see, what that has to say. It's a practice. Everything is a practice. Like a muscle, it's just going to get stronger, right? When you continue to connect with it. And the way we connect is in deep, deep presence with a sensory experience. Anything else? Thank you for sharing your gifts. You're very welcome. We can hear you and feel your, thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much at the mark. So I'm just going to reiterate once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. I just want to put out there, invite you all to, we are creating, we as in myself, Janine and Meg, and I'm so honored to be part of these two other powerful women who are just so devoted to their own expression of the mysteries and their own expression of spirit. We are curating a beautiful New Year meditation. It's going to be all about shamanic medicine. We are gonna try to cook up something that is going to be supportive and nourishing for all of you. So go check it out, March 24th at 4 p.m. Yeah, and hope to see most of you there, or all of you there, actually. So yeah, and of course, subscribe or join and follow and share the Beyond Mystic platform, Rumble, and yeah, just thank you all again. And those of you who want to go deeper into sacred mysteries and understanding how to cultivate that for yourself and what that feels like and looks like and the different embodiment practices and all the things mysterious, feel free to reach out to me through consultation. I am offering these consultations on the Beyond Mystic platform, and I would just be so honored to support anybody on their expansion journey. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'm wishing everybody goodbye. Love you all. Thank you.